gotta say is I blame Todd for everything. Hey guys, it's Kristen, and today we're talking about episode 9 of High School Musical, the series. I am so excited because it is opening night. We are finally going to get to see them perform High School Musical. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this episode. So after the small fire in the school caused some issues with using the auditorium at the school, they have now found a new solution, and they're going to be performing the musical in the gym, which was really cool because I feel like that is a pretty iconic location in the High School Musical films, and it's just like a fun opening night. Everyone's excited, everyone's nervous. They do a really nice moment where they kind of use some of the quotes from High School Musical to reflect how they're feeling about the production. We're seeing Ricky and Nene in this episode who, have had kind of like their ups and downs this entire season. The last episode, they almost kissed, and I think in this episode we're really seeing that the two of them are starting to look at each other again and be like, maybe this was that person for me. And there's this beautiful song that they have in this episode that really reflects kind of what they're going through, called Just for a Moment. I absolutely loved it, and what makes it even better is that the actors who play Nene and Ricky, Joshua Bassett and Olivia Rodrigo, actually wrote that song together for this show. I just still can't get over the fact that like this whole production team is really invested in these actors and these performers so much that like they'll let them write songs for this show. So that's the second song in this season that we've actually heard that was written by one of the actors. The other one is All I Want, which was written by Olivia Rodrigo, and that's literally one of my favorite songs in the entire season so far. So this was a close runner-up to that. This was a great song as well. In this episode it looks like Gina's not coming back, her family's already moved, but then the theory that I came up with that I thought maybe they were gonna ask Courtney to take on the role of Taylor actually finally came true. Last episode it looked like maybe it wasn't gonna happen, and then this episode it did. Although it is very short-lived because Gina does end up flying back to kind of support everyone for the performance, and then they're like, Gina, like, we need you to do this dance number because you're the only one that can do it. And so she does it and she's back in the production. What's interesting there is a couple of things. First of all, we get to see the connection between her and Ricky, and it seems like, if Gina wasn't moving, maybe Ricky and her could have been something, but already from just the last episode and his almost kiss with Nene, he's already kind of moved on from that. The other thing is that Gina said that someone paid for her flight to come to the show. My initial guess is like, is that EJ, because he was on his phone like a lot of the time in this episode, supposedly working on something important. But at the same time I'm like, does that even make sense? Because I felt like Gina and EJ weren't really very close. Like they were going to work together to get the roles that they wanted, but then that kind of fell apart and I didn't really think that they were friends. So do you think EJ is the one that got her that ticket, or do you think it was someone else? Even though Gina's coming in and taking back her role, Miss Jen does say to Courtney, like, talk to me after Christmas break because like we gotta work on something together. So that makes me wonder, like, could that be maybe a small tease as to what we can expect in season 2? Maybe they're gonna work on another musical and really play up Courtney. Now what I really loved about this episode is that we are finally watching them put the show on. So we get to see the first act in this episode. It looks like there's this big cliffhanger that's going to mean that we're gonna finish the show and watch act 2 in the finale episode, episode 10. But I love that we're actually getting to see them put on this musical. We're seeing them run their lines, we're seeing them do the different numbers, and it's going really well. I have to say I also think it's a little bit weird that they haven't brought up the character of Ryan at all, because he's in this episode and he dances alongside Seb, who plays Sharpay, but Seb is the one singing all the lines, Sharpay's and Ryan's. And we do see that guy that's playing Ryan appear in the jumping photo, but he's the only person who's not like a main character. So I just thought it was a little bit strange that they didn't like give him a few lines or kind of make him a supporting character or something. But of course we gotta throw in some drama in there. So Nene realizes that the dean of that really big performing arts conservatory is in the audience. And not only that, but she's like taking notes. And Courtney is like, yeah, I actually called them and asked them to come watch the show because I know that you were interested in the school and I think you could do it. So she invited the dean there so that she could watch Nene's performance. I think based off her reaction, it is something that's like, wow, this is cool, but also the pressure. This actually calls to mind to me High School Musical 3, where they had people in the audience from Juilliard who were trying to choose certain people to get a scholarship. I just really love that connection and seeing, all the little Easter eggs to the original franchise. As that's happening, we're also watching a really epic performance of Get Your Head in the Game. Ricky is killing it, and then Todd. That's all I gotta say. Todd comes in and ruins everything. So as you guys might remember, Todd is his mom's new boyfriend. And so, You know, I think Ricky was really happy when his parents came to see his show together, and even though they're not together anymore, it felt like a little family moment for him, and we get to see him like kind of give this little smile when he sees that the two of them are there. And then in the middle of Get Your Head in the Game, we're in this really intense moment. Ricky's like in a freaking harness, flying above the air with a basketball, and who do we see come in? Todd. First of all, I gotta say, it is messed up, I think, of the mom to bring the boyfriend without letting anybody know ahead of time. The mom and dad's relationship only just ended. Ricky has never even met this guy. I think it would have been a courtesy of her to just ask him, is it okay if I bring him? And not just do it. Second thing is, Todd came in to sit down right before Act 1 ends. So pretty rude that not only is this guy gonna just show up, but he's gonna show up late to the show. I already didn't like Todd. I'm on Ricky's side with this whole thing. It was just like a lot, so I could see why Ricky kind of freaked out. I wish that it didn't mess up his performance, but I think that this is something that he's been struggling with, and so it makes a lot of sense to see that this is kind of the moment that's gonna affect him. I hope maybe in the next episode we'll get to see him confront his mom and talk to her about how he feels and just tell her like this is not cool. And I don't think the mom's being fair to the dad or to Ricky. And so then after that, not only is he shaken up by the mom's boyfriend showing up, but he also finds out about this person in the audience watching for Nini's performance, and he doesn't want to mess it up, and he's afraid that like now that he's all rattled, he's not going to be able to do this and do the show justice. So he decides he's going to give up the role of Troy and give it to EJ for Act 2 because he thinks that at least EJ will be able to continue on with the show for her. Like, I don't want him to not do Act 2 because I want to continue watching him, and honestly, I really don't think that the guy who plays EJ is the best singer, in my opinion at least. So I really would rather see Ricky do it, but I do think that it was very selfless of him to be like, I'm gonna pass on this role because I don't want to mess up Nini's chance of doing something really big. And so with that, I really enjoyed the way that they set up this episode, because at the very beginning, it's like, wait a minute, is that EJ wearing the Troy Bolton like jersey? And then they flash back to 8 hours before and kind of go through the story and tell you how we got to that moment and why he's playing the role. And I guess, honestly, it kind of works out in EJ's favor because that's really what he wanted from the beginning. And so I'm curious to see, is he really going to do Act 2, or is he going to do maybe some of Act 2 and then they'll be able to talk to both Ricky and Nini and get them back on the same page and they'll be able to finish out the show. All I gotta say is I blame Todd for everything. It was just a really big cliffhanger, and it makes me really excited to see where we're going to go in the finale. I'm really excited that we are splitting these up into Act 1 and Act 2, so we do get to see a lot more of the performances. This whole cast has become sort of a family. I love the original High School Musical references, and just all the original songs have been so great. I think Ricky is probably one of my favorite characters. He really carries this show, and I can't wait to see where we're gonna go at the end of the next episode to sort of see where we're gonna be going into season 2. Will Nini impress this conservatory? Will we get to see a new musical next season where Courtney has a really big role? Will Big Red and Ashlyn end up getting together? They've had a lot of really cute moments this season. Will Gina actually end up staying at East High somehow? This show has just been a lot of fun, and I really can't wait to see where it goes next. If you like this one, you can check out more of my High School Musical the Musical reviews right over here, and I will catch you in my next video. See ya!